These are the men in the squad today trying to change history this season, trying to move towards that glorious moment. Nick Wood and Paul Doran-Jones, the props. Doran-Jones released from the England squad to play in this. Scott Lawson, part of the Scotland squad for the autumn internationals. He's hooker. Second row, former Leicester man Jim Hamilton makes a timely return with Dave Atwood staying with England. Alex Brown, leading line-out taker in the country at the moment. Another ex-Leicester player, Brett Deacon, is in the back row. Andy Hazel recovered from a bug that kept him out last week. And captain today is Luke Narraway. No Mike Tindall, of course, for the next few weeks. Rory Lawson will be disappearing with Scotland, but not just yet. He's back from injury today to partner Nicky Robinson. And then in the centre, no Tindall, but also no Molinar or Fuima Onusapolu. So it's the youngsters, Johnny May and Henry Trinder. James Simpson, Daniel and Charlie Sharples are the wingers, and Sharples still only 21. He's banging form. And Ollie Morgan is fullback, completing the Gloucester 15. Leicester, 5 changes for them from the side that beat Bath last week, and 2 of those changes at prop. Marcus Ajurza is back in for Boris Stankovic, who was injured at Welford Road a week ago, and Martin Castro-Giovanni replaces England's Dan Cole. George Shooter returning from England training, he stays at hooker. Ed Slater, George Skivington, the locks again. There's no choice, but they're playing well. Craig Newby wears 6 as Ben Woods fit again, has the number 7 shirt. Newby moving over to cover the absent Tom Croft, and Thomas Waldrom, number 8, like Slater and Skivington, ever present in the Premiership this season. James Grindle is Ben Youngs, Billy Twelvetrees, Toby Flood. They're hard shoes to fill. An old King's Home favourite, Anthony Allen, teams up with Matt Smith again at centre. Alisana Tuilangi, well, he's lining up with Scott Hamilton on the wing. And captain is Jordan Murphy, not required as yet in the Ireland squad this autumn, but that could change. As will the lineups today as the game wears on, so we'll have a look at the replacements. And of particular note, the presence of scrum half Jason Spice on the Leicester bench, on loan from the Cornish All Blacks at the age of 35, and fly half George Ford at the age of 17, on the verge of a Premiership debut, also there for the Tigers.
Well, there's a sense of renewed hope in Gloucester, some real bite up front and some incision behind. For Leicester, it's business as usual. Critics questioning their current form, but the Tigers are, as ever, confident in their pacing in the Premiership season.
Autumn international absentees for both sides, a fact of Premiership life these days. For Leicester, the blow of losing England halfbacks Youngs and Flood, just as they got back together, reuniting, and it was working so well for them individually and so well for the team. But it was ever thus for Leicester. They crack on, regardless of who wears the shirt. The wearing 10 today is Billy Twelvetrees, the playmaker role. No Flood, as I say, and no Staunton either, who's injured, of course, at the moment.
Said it before and we'll say it again, it's that time of the year when Leicester have to find the new names to fill the void during the autumn internationals. Ed Slater, he's the name, but the second row has emerged early this season with a string of superb performances. We already know about him, a young one to watch.
3 played on their travels this season in England, and they've lost the lot, Leicester. Can they change that today? This a great place to do it. Gloucester that 1 win better off than Leicester, but only 1 bonus point compared to Leicester's 5. It's confident that come the crunch, they've won the battles here. Leeds, Wasps, Harlequins have all left with losing bonus points. And a King's Home reputation still to protect. And for Brett Deacon today, like Jim Hamilton, against his old club, and the man who won it right at the end for Gloucester last week. What a fine score that was.
Yeah, well, you know, James Simpson, Daniel, he might just represent a subtle change in Gloucester's shape. Normally, the winger hugs the touchline, but in the last few games, he's been popping up in midfield and posing all manner of threats for the opposition. If Simpson Daniel gets ball in hand, he's a threat to anyone.
Wayne Barnes, who's on Sky almost as much as the Barnes alongside me these days. And I can assure you that we are never going to tire of being here to watch this. Gloucester versus Leicester. The fans seem to concur. Gloucester's biggest home crowd of the season for this one. Home side to start. Nicky Robinson switches this way. And taken by Craig Newby. In comes Anthony Allen, the former Gloucester man, to act as scrum half here. And he feeds well to 12 Trees, who has that early chance to settle his nerves. Interesting watching the Leicester bench. They applaud him. They're happy for him.
Craig Newby, he's getting, I think, his first real start of the season at 6, his best position. He's had to fill in at 7, but with Croft in England colours, he's back to his best position, where he performed most of his rugby for the All Blacks.
Scott Lawson throws quickly down from Alex Brown. It's come off the face of May. Didn't quite read that one. In fact, the chest calls the referee. So no knock on. Murphy, 12 Trees, has another chance to kick, but that one not as successful. Jertzer recovers. And it's Grindle to Murphy, going cross-field here. It's an interesting angle as well. And it's almost taken by Hamilton. He has a wrestle with Sharples, and Sharples in front of the shed does his job well, and he gets a penalty too as Leicester pile in and go to ground. Lawson thinks about taking it quickly, and the response of the shed clear enough there to Charlie Sharples. Another who scored a try last week, and a flamboyant dive as well, and the shed enjoyed that one.
Well, you know, Leicester...
Well, Robinson's missed his touch there.
Dear.
Well, that's terrible for him, and also for Gloucester, because that's a scrum all the way back from the point where he kicked it. Stu?
Well, we talked about leadership required for Leicester as well. Jordan Murphy is one of those men, and Murphy's ability to just get beyond the Gloucester defence, superb. He's filled into what is the fly half slot. He looks up. Hamilton is hugging that touchline. Very tall man, the Cantabrian, towers over Sharples there. That was very clever from Leicester. Not so clever, the kick from Gloucester.
And the penalty for Leicester at the scrum, so a good start from their front row, Castro and company. And food for thought for Wood and Doran Jones.
Small things, Miles, small things. Penalty for Gloucester, they miss touch, go back for the scrum. Leicester get the penalty. That's the whole length of the pitch.
And 12 Trees, no mistake. Scott Quinnell.
You talk about small things. Watch George Shooter come in here. He gets up. He's a wonderful lift with Walden. But look, he gets him the way. Takes the impact of Gloucester. They secure the ball. Good start by Leicester.
Shooter having a good season. Thompson and Hartley, the required hookers by England at the moment. Shooter released to come back for this game. And he throws to another man who is going well. Ed Slater, on loan from Nottingham. Came as more of a sixth than a lock, but thrust into this lock role and taking his opportunity. And Leicester taking the referee's whistle against a former Leicester man as well, Brett Deacon. And this time it's the point to the posts and 12 Trees to have a go off the kicking tee.
Great movement, you know, from Leicester there. Slater, he was in the middle, he just shifted to the front. Very quick on their feet, the Tigers at the line out.
And at the side goes Brett Deacon. And joined the Leicester setup at the age of 15. After 13 years at the club. Now a man of Gloucester. Oh, here's 12 Trees. Last game was against Treviso in the Heineken Cup, and then Flood returned. Encouraging words from Richard Cockrell this week for Billy 12 Trees. It will really encourage the man himself. As for this to go over, and to be the first points of the afternoon, which they are. Almost a smile.
If you can't have a kick in front of the post, the place you want it actually is on the touchline, because one you should get, the other one there's no pressure because it's such a difficult kick, and that's a lovely strike from 12 Trees to just ease him and his team into the game. Very sloppy from Gloucester though. 2 soft penalties, they gave territory away and points.
Robinson restarts. Of course, he started it all with that kick too long.
Get back onside.
It's still a long way to go here. There's Grindle to 12 Trees again, and for the second time, a body in the way. There's 3 kicks from hand now, and 2 have hit a cherry and white.
Just too slow there, getting that ball from hand to put the transfer speed. And of course, as a man who isn't a born and bred fly half, just his positional play sometimes a little bit shallow there, put himself under pressure.
Come closer. No, don't cut, get out there, get out of there.
Line out cut, not drastically. 5 in it, plenty of movement. And Skivington knew exactly where it was going, and has started every game in all competitions for his new club since joining from Watts this season. Taken by James Simpson-Daniel. Referee saw that Leicester were about to go offside. The crowd had seen it a little earlier. It's Johnny May. Club yet to decide. He's yet to decide whether it was centre or wing. He's inside centre for the first time today. Nearly a bit of space. Well, there is space now as Deacon goes out. Trinder gets in there. So too Scott Lawson. Robinson. Just opened up for Gloucester. Closed down a bit now, though. He doesn't find the space again as Trinder kicks. Simpson-Daniel chases, but this will be a tense line out for Leicester.
Well, last time Gloucester were here, they got pressure on Billy 12 Trees. He's so right-footed. You could see the 3 arrows there. It's Gloucester pressing him. They know that he can't come off that right foot and go onto the left. He's easy target. So even if Leicester get this ball now, he will be pressurised. You sense that the drive and perhaps Grindle taking on the box kick is the option here. I do wonder when Deacon went through there, should perhaps he have looked to the left-hand side for the pass.
Went in head down. It's the lower part of his body still hurting. He's not part of this. And not straight. It was a tense line out for Leicester. Shooter went for the long one, and it didn't work. So Deacon will be required here, just short of the Leicester line, to be part of the 8-man shove. But he's not comfortable, far from it.
No, and nor should Leicester be now after 2 errors in that bottom corner. It was 2 penalties from Gloucester that cost them. And now Gloucester are able to squeeze an opportunity here. Simpson-Daniel.
Sorry, I was just say Deacon's waited all summer and the early part of autumn for this game. He's not going to go off lightly, is he?
No, he's not. He's not. Sorry, I was about to say as well, James Simpson-Daniel is way off his left wing. He's right behind Nicky Robinson. Very interesting alignment there, almost like a parallelogram.
Round comes that scrum again. Leicester already won 1 penalty, but this time it's Gloucester.
Backwards and then drove. He stepped backwards and then drove.
You can hear it clear from Wayne Barnes there. I would think 15 metres out, the option is 3 points this stage in the game.
There's 60% in Nicky Robinson, his kicking percentage, but it started so terribly, didn't it?
Yeah, he did at Exeter, of course. One must say as well, do you remember everyone was saying, blimey, Gloucester are in free fall, one game in. They've lost to Exeter because they missed all those kicks. Defeat at Exeter doesn't seem quite so bad, especially after that win at Saracens.
Just before the kick, it's SQ.
Let's have a little look at this. As they come in here, as they go to ground, have a look at the Gloucester players. Look at the red shirts. They all back away. They got 4 contact there with Leicester. Nobody goes into that contact area with Gloucester. They're staying off.
Staying in the kicking zone here is Nicky Robinson to try and level. Which he does. Like 12 trees, nowhere near the posts. Good start from Robinson.
Now here's Brett Deacon, lovely inside ball there, little break. Should he have gone inside? I think the cover is pretty good there. Leicester have made sure there's no easy opportunity for their old mate to get the pass away. Lawson's coming in field, but there's a Leicester man ready there.
Narroway coming forward, and that's knocked on. It's picked up by Ben Woods, who's returned after his latest injury, wrist, the problem at the start of this season. Slater. On goes Newby, kept 3 times by New Zealand. Grindle, 12 trees. Ajertse tried to take their minds off it in midfield. Was always going to go wide, out to Tuilangi. That was the plan. And Tuilangi, the man again that Leicester seek. Waldrum short to 12 trees. Again, Castro Giovanni was a decoy man. Round comes Allen. Had to kick in the end, but it doesn't matter because there's no advantage. Offside against Gloucester. It's a Leicester penalty.
One assumes that 3 points will be the order of the day here. All the Gloucester defenders have got their eyes on the ball. There's no easy tap. And 12 trees takes the opportunity. It should be 3 points. Poor restart from Gloucester. It's not a bad kick, but poor body shape. There's no lifters as well. We saw, didn't we, at the start of the game, Scottish showing George Shooter just given his man coverage. Nothing there from Gloucester. And Tuilangi, bang on the touchline, stepping infield. The last thing you want, Tuilangi wide coming in. That's the threat. Hamilton and the Samoan together is very physical out there.
This would be a shocker if he missed this, especially after the start he made out wide. Should be 6-3. And that's exactly what it is. We've been saying how difficult it is for teams to win at Kingsholm, although Leicester's recent record here is good. They've won 3 of their last 4 on this ground.
It's a state of mind, Mars. I mean, Gloucester's state of mind is they're better here, and psychologically it's worth a few points. But, you know, I played in teams here many years, and you came here and you thought we will win. And if you come here thinking it's going to be hard, you're halfway to losing the battle. And Leicester, with their record, they always believe they can win.
In their turn, Leicester's to knock on from a restart. And then it was Johnny May. That was Wood, supported by Lawson. Simpson Daniel. Robinson. It's Rory Lawson. Ricochet, well taken by Slater. Lost by 12 trees. Just about regathered it. The referee was on the spot to see it. Allen. In goes Ajertse. Clearing out by him. Slater takes it over halfway. 12 trees still down. He's receiving treatment. Ajertse, therefore his first receiver. 12 trees back into midfield, but takes a holding role at the moment as he watches Smith go. And Hamilton and Allen. Got to work hard these days to get through the professional defence. Castro Giovanni. Grindle. 12 trees. Newby
Release him, 7.
tackling there from the two flankers, Deacon and Hazel. And there's Ajurts who dropped it, and nearly a kick through there. It was May who tried to get a boot on it, and Leicester didn't get anywhere. Scott Quinnell, what have you seen?
Just before the penalty, let's have a look at this. Tulangi's going at the touch judge. There, he's in touch. The touch judge can't be any closer. Little things could change the result of this game.
Scotty, I don't know if you can hear me at the moment.
Yeah.
You made the point about Gloucester just putting no men into the breakdown. One of the things I looked at since you said that, when Leicester are going into contact situations, what they're doing, they're going over the top and they're sealing it, but there's no dynamism there, so there's no danger of everyone driving through and attacking the gain line that way. Have Leicester got to change the way they're attacking the contact, or do they allow Gloucester just to maintain this fan defence?
But what they've got to do, Stu, is they've got to create that, they've got to sit over it, but then they've got to break away and allow your scrum half or allow a back rower to go through that contact area. If they've got nobody in behind, you've got to exploit that. And what they're not doing at the moment, there's no dynamism. You're exactly right. They need to pick and drive just to bring that Gloucester defence in so they can create something wider. You've got to work through that contact area and making it easy for Gloucester to defend at the moment.
And that's why they might well miss Ben Youngs this evening.
Exactly right. What they need to do is work that contact area and make sure that they fight over that contact as they're doing at the moment.
Yes, they certainly are working hard there. And they've got it. 12 trees, Allen, Jordan Murphy, and Alessandro Tuilangi now on the other side, and he's nowhere near the touchline there. He's near Morgan, and didn't Morgan know it? But it was brave. Very brave. Here's Woods. He's stopped by Alex Brown and helped by others. Shooter, 12 trees, and Slater now gets a gallop. The big second row. Waldrum, Ajurts, a bit more bite in this from Leicester. And 12 trees again. Grindle. Can they find a way? Oh, it's the old man, is it? The former Gloucester player, Anthony Allen, who was nearly through. Grindle needs to work it one more time, but it's Narroway on the floor who gets it. Then it's Lawson, and a chance maybe for Sharples. Sharples kicks, and he's very quick. So too is Hamilton. Hamilton, arms like pistons there to get back. He had to fly, and the Kiwi did. Had no choice there. Sharples was on him.
Mars, tackle of the day. Anthony Allen, you think is through, but Johnny May, so quick. Great line from the former Gloucester man, and look at that lassoing tackle there from the centre. And then Gloucester so quick to turn that ball over. But it looks like it's a try here. Brilliant defensive work from young Johnny May, and superb scavenging from the Gloucester rearguard. Oh, Narroway did brilliant there.
As he did last week when he stood in at 7. Andy Hazel had to pull out with that stomach virus. He's recovered from that this week. Narroway wearing 8 today and taking on the leadership as well today. It's a big moment for him with Mike Tyndall at the ground, but of course part of England's plans next week.
Do you know what? I watched that Narroway performance against Harlequins, and I know that Hazel had dropped out late, and I just wondered whether this talented footballer, who sometimes looks more comfortable at 7s than 15s, had really found his role. He was electric, especially going forward, and shirked nothing defensively.
Peter Buxton's on, and that means Brett Deacon, poor Brett Deacon, looking forward to this. He's off. Got that knock earlier. And there's Trinder, who's May's young centre partner. Trinder 21, May 20. It's in the hands of the youngsters today. Sharples, as I said earlier, still only 21. And he said this week that he's feeling pressure from the academy boys below. That's what it's like. Robinson. That's May with the inside ball.
Wasn't held. And away.
May growing in confidence. What a tackle it was, as Stuart pointed out. And Leicester having to put tackles in of their own here. Rory Lawson to his namesake, Scott. In goes Rory again. Well picked up by Nick Wood. Robinson likes it on that left boot, but it doesn't work. Matt Smith's got it. Hamilton was hunting on the inside for a little ball that could have set him away, but Gloucester had read it, and Robinson has another go now. In comes big Jim Hamilton, former Leicester man, and that spell at Edinburgh before moving down here. Scott Lawson to Johnny May, and Leicester have 3 men there to make the tackle.
It was very lateral, that ball had to be straightened there.
Peter Buxton, the replacement. Now Lawson can see it. Both sides desperate to try and create the chance. Leicester come closest so far. That might take Gloucester a little bit closer. It will. It's a very clever kick from a very clever player. Rory Lawson back from that broken bone in his hand.
That's very good play from Lawson there. Technique is excellent, but neither side at the moment is able to unlock the other defence, because for those of you who saw the game in Hong Kong, there was so much quick phase ball. Right now, the defensive units of both Gloucester and Leicester are slowing it down, and when it gets as slow as that, Lawson's decision to chip and play territory, absolutely right, and it becomes a case then for Hamilton and Brown to see if they can cause trouble.
Shooter getting this one right, and finding Skivington. That's really what he wanted to do last time when it went a little bit wrong, as he went a little bit too long. Oh, chance down again on 12 Trees now. If the alarm bells are not ringing now for Leicester and 12 Trees, then they never will. That was Hazel coming through, and it will be a 5-metre scrum, and the smile has turned into a little puff of the cheeks. He knows there's pressure here.
It's too obvious. You just know what he's going to be doing again. 3 men just coming on that right foot of his. He's just a little bit slow there. He's got to get the snap in, but you've got to say, Grindle and Waldron have got to help the fly half here. He hasn't a huge amount of experience. Hazel, all that experience, now big blindside. And Charlie Sharples has been in lethal form on that flank.
Hazel so close to a try there. Just unable to take it.
This is where, Miles, Leicester have got such a strong scrum, and they still have one today. They've just got to be solid as they can be, and Grindle has got to take on responsibility with Waldron to open the field up and just make it a little bit more difficult for Gloucester's scavenging army of chasers, because they're after 12 Trees at the moment.
Leicester have got 2 men on the blind side to cover if it goes towards Sharples. Allen had gone across, but it does go that way. And a penalty is going Gloucester's way as well. There's that stage of the game in what is promising to be a tense and tight tussle between these two once more, where Gloucester might be tempted into the scrum, but the hard-nosed decision is to level it at 6 apiece, and that's what Gloucester are going to do.
Struck the first one so well, Nicky Robinson. Right now, this is quite attritional. Both teams trying to play territory, trying to force errors from the other sides, and they're getting the errors at the moment. Leicester have come away with a couple of penalties. Gloucester, they forced one about 10 minutes ago, got 3 points. They forced it again here. And 12 Trees undoubtedly is at the centre of this game. Perhaps not for all the positive reasons. We've talked about how they're missing Ben Young's sniping pace and runs around the side of breakdowns, but 12 Trees has got to manufacture a little bit more space, or he's got to find a passing game and use someone else wider to kick.
Interesting there as well, we saw Peter Buxton having words with his fellow forwards, of course, former captain. He led Gloucester in the final against Leicester back in 2007. So a little bit of help, if that's the right way of putting it, for Narroway. Experience and guidance is probably a better way of putting it. And here is Robinson, who's plenty experienced at that. Gloucester 6, Leicester 6.
I just think Captain Jordan Murphy's got a big role here as well. He's the key kicking man behind the scrum. And if Billy 12 Trees is struggling a bit, Murphy is well capable of stepping up to that fly half position and using his boot and his experience just to take the heat off his young fly half at the moment.
12 trees with the restart. There's plenty of height on that. And it was a Leicester hand on it. It is a knock-on. Again, it's May. And the youngster looks full of running, doesn't he?
Got pace over 5 metres.
Robinson.
Advantage is over.
Simpson Daniel, who's always been full of running. So too Morgan. Sharples waits and gets.
Right. Good, thank you.
Gloucester swing it back this way with Rory Lawson. And then it was touched again by Smith. And Hamilton tries to go on, but it was knocked on by Matt Smith. Scott Quinnell.
The Leicester players should be helping Billy 12 out here. They shouldn't be standing there. They should be coming in there to block. Should be coming in there to block. Block your men, block your runners, and then you can get the ball away. And if not, they come through, put pressure on the kick. Then they get the penalty from there.
Yes, it was all Gloucester coming through there.
Yeah, and sometimes tight games, it devolves to a microcosm moment. You know, that ball stands up and Hazel scores it. That could be the difference. Need to tighten up their game there, Leicester.
Engage!
Lawson to put in for Dave Lewis, who went off last week, took a knock. Of course, Leicester all kinds of problems at scrum half until they signed Jason Spice on this short-term loan contract. James Grindle, the only fit scrum half on the staff. With young Sam Harrison out injured, he's got an ankle problem.
Crouch! Your hooker's the one who's setting it. Come up if you want, Leicester.
Hearing that Brett Deacon has injured his shin, the extent of which not entirely clear at the moment, but that's the area
Pause.
of the injury. Also maybe wanting a bit more stability from his pack there, and quickly realising that he was going backwards. Narroway, the captain, picked up. Robinson's dropped right back to do that.
Gloucester finding it an awful lot easier to clear their lines from their 22 than Leicester are at the moment, and that's all because of experience. I thought Luke Narroway did a good job there. It was a pretty decent scrum from the Tigers. Narroway was never trying to go anywhere. He just had to detach himself, set the platform and get it right for the half-backs, and he did a decent job.
4 and 5, open the gap, please.
So 7 caps coming as a younger man. He's 27 now. And he's crying, really. Back from Castro Giovanni. Didn't really expect to do that, but he did it well. And here's Smith again, who's a handful. 6'4", 15.5 stone. The Leicester centre.
Halfway if necessary.
12 trees.
I can't see Rob touch on that.
He's trying to claim to the referee there that that was touched by a Gloucester player, and Wayne Barnes has come across to his assistant Robin Goodliff, and between them they decide that it is a Gloucester throw, not Leicester ball.
Well, if James Simpson Daniel is as tall as his player profile says, he might touch this. It claims he's 6 foot tall. He's not 6 foot tall, and that's why he doesn't touch that ball. He's about 3 inches shorter than that, and he's about 3 inches from touching that ball.
I think the touch may have been almost as soon as 12 trees had kicked it. And just come off a hand. I think 12 trees had a point there on that replay. There's Hamilton. Real height mismatch between Simpson Daniel and Hamilton. They come with different attributes. That was a knock-on. And Gloucester to put into the scrum.
Simpson Daniel is working a lot harder than he has on some occasions. We talked before, talked on the rugby club. He's definitely not staying on his wing. He's coming in field quite a lot, and his chasing game far more determined. He comes from out to in. He's not as big as Hamilton, but as soon as Hamilton goes down, he's all over him. No chance for Leicester to regain control.
Touch. Pause. Engage. Far side. I can't see. I'm looking this side. This side of the scrummage is high and stable, but there's 2 sides.
Wales, Australia for Wayne Barnes next week.
Square,
as he
please.
starts the
Fine height,
international period. At the top of his profession, required for November.
Need some fitness levels. Look at the way the Wallabies went this morning.
Touch.
100 miles an hour.
Engage.
Touch papers stand back. They were magnificent beating the All Blacks.
When that back line matures, it'll be some back line, won't it?
Not bad now.
Use.
Yeah.
Joan Albert, 90.
We'll sort that one out, referee. The crowd don't like it.
Control.
It became an out-and-out mess, didn't it? And Leicester will put into the next scrum, that's what matters now. Gringle winces, and so do they.
Small battles at the moment, isn't it? Scrum at the epicentre of it, as it so often is in Premiership rugby. And do Gloucester go 90 degrees? I would say the front row has. And I'd say between Wayne Barnes and his assistant referees, they're absolutely right there, no matter how disgruntled the home crowd are, and possibly Brian Redpath too.
Okay, control, drive from me, that wasn't
Castro Giovanni, shooter, Ajitsa, 3-2-1. We'll go the other way, 1-2-3. The ABC club will return for Leicester against Australia. They're not Cockerell, Roundtree and Garforth, but the letters will be worn by Leicester in their international match against Australia at Welford Road in November. Bit of a throwback. Well, that's a throwback of the ball, and not what 12 Trees wanted, nor Hamilton, and they try and rescue it for the Tigers.
Not the side.
Murphy. Well, he threaded it through, but not where his wide men wanted it to go.
Great pace on Jordan Murphy's pass, but no precision at all there. A lot of errors at the moment. The other side really getting into their game, trying to force it. Suolangi takes his hands away as if to say, well, I'm never getting there.
That was almost, you're not going to blame me for this, I'll take my hands away.
Well, I'm not taking a knock on against my CV for that one, mate.
Scott Lawson, it's plattered back in the end. Therefore, the Gloucester midfield might be targets, but Johnny May seems to like that. He comes through again. Robinson. Lawson. And the other Lawson, Scott Lawson, the hooker. One of 5 Scotland international squad members in this squad. Rory Lawson another, but it doesn't come back for him. And the reason why it doesn't come back is because Leicester won it illegally.
Using his feet on the floor to play the ball.
Nicky Robinson. Well, of course, this is well within his range. So earlier in the season, he smashed 2 55, 60-metre kicks open for Gloucester, and this is within his range. Johnny May almost takes advantage of the old bouncing ball there, doesn't he? And it draws defenders onto him. He's a very strong unit. He's impressed so far in defence with that great tackle and just carrying over the gain line.
First tryout at inside centre. He's played centre before, but inside to Trinity today. He's been playing with Moseley. There's connection between Gloucester and Moseley these days. Those players go to the Midlands club for experience. Robinson. Well, it's not sunny like it was against Wasps. There's a bit more give in the ground at this time of year. And he had the distance though. The problem was the direction, and he'll be very disappointed with that, because he knew that was well within his compass.
As you say, though, just a little bit slicker on the surface, and the non-kicking foot just has to be rigid. When you're going 53 metres, that sort of range, you've got to make a fantastic plant there. It has to be rock solid, because you do just put a little more acceleration into that boot, and from that distance it goes slightly wrong. It misses by a mile.
Sharples. Tackle in the end from Ajurtsi. He really had to make it, otherwise Sharples was into 10 or 15 metres of space. There's Trinder, his turn to bash it up. Tyndall style. May looks for the offload, and Hazel somehow comes through that. Narroway is with him. Bit of promise here from Gloucester. Going in at the side, I think it's Ben Woods who's just working away in offside position there. So it's a free go, and it's a go in behind the defence for Simpson. Daniel, he can't take it, and you would have backed him to get it. You really would. It's going to be a penalty all the way back over on this side, but the chip was good. It was well executed, but Simpson Daniel Normally gets down low so well.
That was a lovely play, wasn't it? Nicky Robinson's pass was excellent. And that's a super little chip off the outside of the left boot. Needs to stand up now. There's a slip as well, and it's through the legs.
Trinder's kick.
Trinder's kick was an absolute beauty. He just never quite set himself, did he, James Simpson-Daniel? Almost got there too quickly, got on top of the ball, didn't allow himself to just get low, drive up into the pickup. Good minute for Trinder there. It was a really good, strong run. Came off the line superbly for Robinson, and then Robinson's pass left to right was a beauty. A beauty, and his kick was very clever.
Mike Tyndall has supplied the water.
He'd have enjoyed that tackle from Johnny May, wouldn't he? Tyndall-esque.
Master and pupil about that. Robinson's missed again, slated across the post. He's been so grateful for that opportunity after the miss so recently in the game. And now that one's got away from Nicky Robinson.
That's two bad kicks. I mean, the first one's a long way out, so it's, if you like, a shot to nothing. Nicky Robinson, he's kicking well, he gets those, but he did go into this game 60%. And whatever the background to those stats, they're not the stats of a team who are going to make the top four. He's got to sharpen his goal kicking up.
Up she goes again, Morgan chasing, and Trinder trying to get on the end of his own kick. Picked up by Hamilton, then taken on by 12 trees. Here goes Waldrum, and that's good use of space by Waldrum, and Tuilagi again. This time it's Robinson. Is it okay? My turn, I'll take it if I have to. Glos to go piling through and get their reward. That was aggressive at the breakdown from Gloucester.
Well, that tackle on Tuilagi lifted the whole ground, and 14 other players. Nicky Robinson, he's missed 2 tackles, but it's almost like a judo throw there, and then Gloucester come flying in there. Really good work from the Welshman there. 2 more inches and that's high, but it's not. That is superb work, and Buxton, as ever through his career, look how quick he's there, and they're just driving Tuilagi back.
Robinson sort of used Tuilagi's weight, didn't he, and momentum.
Yeah, judo throws, I remember in my judo youth. You wouldn't. Nicky Robinson, 5 tackles made. That maybe tells you also how Leicester are trying to play at the moment.
How did you tie up the belt?
Helps, keeps everything up. Very long-range kick after the last 2 misses from Nicky Robinson.
He's got another go. Oh, it's a good go too. That takes character, even for a player of Robinson's experience. Just missed a couple, but you wouldn't know it. Drills it over.
Yeah, that's excellent work. Feeling on top of the world, having just thrown Tuilagi to the ground. I've earned my team a penalty. I might as well turn it into 3 points. Excellent play.
This should be Ollie Morgan's. He's running onto it. It came off a Leicester man. So it got very crowded for Morgan. Narroway. Rory Lawson to Robinson. Good work from Scott Lawson, just swerving out of the way like he was trying to avoid a bouncer.
Release him away. Don't. He's rolling.
Just to try and drive over again, and they've just about done it. Nicky Robinson. And Jordan Murphy just waits to see what happens on the bounce. And in the end, is happy to watch it go over the line, but it's territory that Gloucester want to play here.
It's a territorial sort of game, isn't it? Still not enough quick ball. Neither side trusted in the handling skills of their attacking game. They don't want to get turned over or intercepted in 30 metres or so from their line. So they're just saying, OK, let's put George Shooter and company under pressure. Didn't get up last time, will they? No, again, no competition there.
Moody moving to the front and taking quite comfortable. Rindle is looking for a box kick here. Simpson-Daniel with Hamilton being shepherded out of the way very cleverly. And it might have given Gloucester a chance on that side. In comes Tuilangi, get rid of it, says Sharples, and he does. Out to Trinder. Trinder still on his feet. Now needs to roll the right way. And does. Rory Lawson to Nicky Robinson. Simpson-Daniel, that's a good ball. And that was an even better one almost from Narroway, who was falling down as he tried to pass on to Hazel. And Simpson-Daniel saw, it's like chess that. He knew exactly what move he had to play, but he saw a move in front as well.
This is best passage of play yet from Gloucester. Pulls wide to open up the gap, and then the drop. That was lovely, but before then, May and Trinder worked the space superbly. The speed of May's feet were dazzling, and he gave Trinder the ball, who got the pass away. But once again, those centres, I must say. Johnny May's feet initially superb. Charlie Sharples there, and then it goes to Trinder. It's 12. He's impressive. Talking to Dean before the game, Dean Ryan about him, said for a big man he's quick on his feet, and there's no doubt at all he got himself out of a hole there superbly.
Red not gone, sorry.
You can see there as well. Just a little bit more constructive, perhaps. Gloucester. That's forced Leicester to miss a few more tackles. Leicester not really asking Gloucester many questions at the moment.
He was talking to a gentleman on the way into the ground who will remain nameless, because actually I never got his name, but I'll come back to that in a second. As Grindle kicks, and we find touch. And he said, "Did you see that game this morning?" I said, "No, I didn't actually, because I was in the car." He said, "Magnificent." He said, "But watch out for our midfield today, the youngsters, Trinder and May." So here we are, Mr. Gloucester fan. Email Sky during the week, because you deserve credit. You were bang on.
Well, certainly, I think at the moment, Gloucester backline just looks slightly more dangerous than Leicester's. But of course, with players like Murphy and Tuilangi, they can conjure tries from anywhere from the Tigers.
Charged down by Skivington, and Robinson's on his own here. Can he get out of the hole? He can. Hauled himself out, and look at that for a kick down the line as well. Taken quickly by Hamilton. Just 2 minutes now until the interval, and Murphy and Tuilangi. Oh, Tuilangi! He was almost away there. In comes Hamilton.
Fine, first man there can use his hand.
Grindle. Can anybody grab a score just before half-time? At the moment, Leicester favourite.
Not the side, not the side, not the side. Good distance.
Murphy. Shooter. And then Allen. Two cries of forward. Skivington, who started this attack with that charge down. Murphy. An inside ball again might work. Oh, they've just caught hold of Woods. Now it's stolen by Lawson. It has been the first half of nearly moments, but is this the score? From Murphy to Allen, no! And it's a knock-on. As Slater falls over the line, but it won't count.
Anthony Allen should have scored that. Really should have scored that. Pressure came on initially when there's a charge down. But a minute or so later, Jordan Murphy will be thinking, how did we not score that ball? There's the inside ball. It looked a shade forward from Billy 12 Trees. There's an interception, and then when it comes back to Jordan Murphy, you just think Anthony Allen has to score here. Simpson-Daniel is coming across to make the challenge, but you can see how close he is to the try line. Even if he's tackled there, the momentum is such. One more drive from the Tigers and someone's over there. That's a big chance. That's Leicester's best chance of the first half, blown there by the ex-Gloucester man, you've had sense.
Okay, we all right? We're on then. Watch back on, please.
You can see Leicester haven't conceded as many turnovers as Leicester, twice as many from the Tigers. Leicester be very cautious at the breakdown. I just don't think Leicester have been aggressive enough. Grindle's first time we've seen anyone go through the middle, and Grindle doesn't have the attributes to really hurt you. Maybe Gloucester know that, and that's why they're fanning out.
Well, they've got a slender lead, and they'll be looking to preserve it now in these final seconds of this first half.
Both feet went away.
And this will just about ensure that Gloucester can put the ball out after winning it from this scrum. They'll know what they need to do here, but of course Leicester have had the better of things in the scrum in this first half.
And how many times have we seen Leicester just turn it on in a key scrum, coming up to half-time or a critical moment of a match? You know that Castro Giovanni and company will throw everything at us just to try and destabilise Gloucester, Lawson and co.
There's a 15-minute break coming after this, so everything is going to be put into this by the Leicester scrum, and it is. But no, says Wayne Barnes.
What Gloucester said before to Wayne Barnes, they walked the scrum when they got a free kick earlier in the game, and this time Wayne Barnes is the decision that they have. So Robinson kicks off, Gloucester lead the game. They've been slightly more incisive. It hasn't been a beauty contest, but it's been quite pulsating, and right now, if you said who wins it, I shade Gloucester at the moment, but it's so tight.
Yeah, you don't really know at this stage. No try bonus point yet this season for Gloucester, and in some ways you can see why. Leicester know that the sides that have lost here have lost narrowly. It's going to be a tight second half. 9-6, Gloucester lead.
Making a score, 9-6 at half-time. Let's hear from the Gloucester and England centre, Mike Tyndall. England boys given the weekend off, but he's down here and he's speaking to Melissa Platt.
Well, Mike, I know you were given the weekend off, but you have been doing your homework this morning. What did you make of the Australia-New Zealand game?
Well, obviously, it was a cracking game, you know. The attacking from both sides was outstanding. So, obviously, New Zealand losing next week probably will make them a little bit angrier, which is good for us. It means we can focus more. It also means that it's shattered a little bit their aura. You know, that Australia haven't beat them in 10 or something. So, you know, if they can do it, so can we.
So that gives you heart to say there are vulnerabilities.
Well, definitely. You know, I think the way that Australia played against them was the correct manner of doing so. You know, and I think if Australia had been a little bit luckier, they'd have been further ahead in that first 20-30 minutes where New Zealand didn't touch the ball. So we've got to take heart from that. We'll do our homework properly, you know, Monday, Sunday night, and then attack the week next week.
And looking at this game here, Leicester just starting to ask a few more questions of your defence. What's key in the second half, knowing the surge is to come?
Yeah, I think you know, in no disrespect to Leicester, they've taken a little bit by surprise. I think they're playing a lot more rugby than they're used to playing in the wider channels and not just going down the middle and using, you know, their big carriers. So from our point of view, we've just got to get organised fast. You know, we're proud of our D. We've scrambled really well in the situations where we have been under pressure. You know, the centre boys have done well, and we've just got to keep that going, and then hopefully our attack will turn up a little bit more accurate. And we've made little breaks, but we haven't finished them off. And if we can do that, we'll win this game.
Thanks for your time. Good luck next week. Back to you, Miles.
Thanks, Melissa. All set for the second half. You know, if rugby had a pools coupon, you'd have this down as a home win, wouldn't you, in view of Gloucester's record this season, Leicester's record on the road. And the champions really need to try and sort that out. Not totally rely on their form at Welford Road. And trying to sort out the kickoff there was Matt Smith, nearly did.
Sorry, lads, there's two knock-ons. It's two knock-ons.
The referee explaining there were two knock-ons, and the first one by Leicester, so Gloucester will put into the first scrum of this second half. I mean, what do you read into this Leicester start on the road this season, Stuart?
Not a lot, Miles. So many times over the years I've seen Leicester struggling to get an away win, and we've got to Christmas and the critics have been saying, you know, with that away form it won't get them into the playoffs, but they are nigh unbeatable at home and they get bonus point wins, and when they have to get the wins, the strength of Leicester is when they have to win, they do. And maybe tonight they'll feel we don't have to win, and maybe because they feel that and understand that, almost like someone like Toulouse in France, it makes them slightly more vulnerable. So I don't really read much into it at all. Whatever the result tonight, Leicester will be my favourites to be Premiership champions at the end of the season.
So Jordan Crane, who is back in the Leicester squad, first time this season since his pre-season injury against Munster. So look to see him as the second half goes on. And there is Jordan Crane, and not part of that scrum, which went Gloucester's way again, says Wayne Barnes. Winning some penalties at the scrum now, Gloucester.
I was going to say, restarts. We've seen Leicester and Shooter so good. Just watch this as we just zoom in here. Fourth time Leicester have gone left to right, and look at this. Morgan goes up with his jumper. Two men hit each other. There's no lifter, there's no foundation, no one's rooted in the ground helping the guy who gets in the air. So time after time it is a lottery.
Taken by Alex Brown. It's not a lottery when it goes to him. No. He's the top line-out winner at the start of round 7 of the Premiership. Now there's a mauler and another penalty as that maul comes down, and that, as we know, is within Robinson's range, which Robinson will turn up for this kick.
It's a night for chipping away, isn't it? For bisecting those points, for making 9-6 into 12-6 into 15-6, and then just trying to force the other team to concede the penalties. And you can see there, Leicester, 3 times as many penalties conceded as Gloucester. And in a game like this, where there's not a lot of pace in the game, where defences are on top, if that statistic isn't turned around, Leicester will slowly find themselves being booted out of contention here.
Chianti time for Castro Giovanni. He'll need a plaster if the officials see that.
You said Chianti time and I got all excited. I thought he'd bought a vineyard in Italy. It's just a bit of blood. Oh, I was so excited.
Just settle yourself with Ajertz's interest in horses.
That'll do.
Revealed on the rugby club this week. Here's Robinson, his interest. 3 points, first points of the second half. And he's not going to get them.
He's back to 50%, isn't he? 60% going into the game success rate. I think that's 3 out of 6 now. No, it's not good enough. 2 of those go over. 15-6 really are in the driving seat. Right now it is anyone's.
Make big differences in games like this. These 3-point opportunities. Robinson now goes up with the up and under, and Murphy is tackled by Ollie Morgan. Twelve trees. Was taken back into the 22. Now it's back in the Gloucester 22, and Robinson screws it down the middle. Murphy. And 12 trees. Well, that's where Leicester women disappointed the first half. They won that one. And Scott Purnell made on the front line. Newby. And Anthony Allen. Versus old club colleagues.
Don't touch the line.
Ball was out, said the referee. Through went Gloucester, and now trying to go through is Peter Buxton, who came on for Deacon in the first half. Leicester dithered. Sharples tries to go on the outside of Tuilangi, and now has to do some tackling of his own. Scott Lawson gathers himself for a long pass into midfield, didn't take it on, gave it to Paul Doran-Jones. Crowd get behind their side. Robinson and Buxton again.
Away, 87.
Rory Lawson to Nicky Robinson. Simpson Daniels after this, couldn't be taken cleanly by Hamilton, and the referee's going to give the penalty. As the crowd thump away at the floor of their seats or just clap their hands together. They wanted Gloucester just for a second to go for broke there, but again, this is so close to the post, it would be silly to turn it down.
Well, it's a good decision, isn't it, from Nicky Robinson. He's about to kick the ball, and you can see huge area, no Leicester players there. Lovely kick into space. Hamilton has to come from about 20 metres off the pace. There's a fumble because no one is there to clear it up. He's earned his team what should be 3 points there. Clever play from the Cardiff man, now a Gloucester player.
Hamilton nudging it forward, Leicester coming in offside. Robinson, 3 points. will help his percentages. More importantly, though, for Gloucester, it helps them on the scoreboard. 12-6, good work from Hazel on Anthony Allen.
Well, he's had a hungry old game today, Andy Hazel. A lot of pace in this Gloucester back row with Hazel and Narroway there. A true hero. Sorry, Mars, I was going to say a true hero of Kingston, that man.
Backing up your point, twice player of the season here. And of course, supporters' choice as well. That goes without saying.
That was better. A lift as well there.
And a catch by Brown. Robinson. Morgan. Did all right at the end, didn't he? And then it was Buxton. He's exactly the kind of player you want on the end of something like that. Now, Sharples is creeping right, but it goes to Robinson on his left. And that left peg picks out Murphy. And that's the result of his right boot. Back to Robinson, tackled by Murphy. There's Johnny May. Waldrums. And he frees his arms to find Tuilangi. That was very good play from Waldrum. Shooter formed the bridge over the ball, but then was just blasted off it. Waldrum is not blasted, he does the blasting. Allen resorts to the boot, but it might be a canny little kick that. Simpson Daniel with Matt Smith there, Scott Hamilton too, down goes Trindle, it's squirted out. And Narroway, the captain, was there to retrieve it. That could have gone anywhere. And Leicester smells success on this attack now.
Lawson has to manage his situation.
You've lost Leicester, leave it come. No, one, no, you've lost it.
Lawson is waiting. Will he risk the pass? Nervous moments for the scrum half. He's coming back eventually. And he does do it himself, but he was never going to get great distance, and Leicester will still attack.
Superb piece of play from Thomas Waldrum, wasn't it? Straight down the tracks, draws two men to him and releases Tuilangi. Such a class there.
Shooter to throw. Referee wants to keep the gap. Right, Tyndall could not do anything about it today. But can bring on the odd message or deliver the message of his own with his experience. Shooter to Skivington, Grindle, Waldrum again. Gloucester see what he can do when he gets those arms free. 12 trees, Smith, Murphy almost through the hole. Leicester threatening here.
Advantage, 14 entry.
They've gone up several notches. Tuilangi.
Advantage.
They've got a penalty coming as well. Grindle, Newby. There is the penalty.
Must aim not be beaten by
Well,
the
the secondary defence of Gloucester was absolutely excellent there. They came so hard there that they made sure all the Tigers could go for was the 3 points. There was not going to be any form of advantage at all. Very aggressive off the blocks. And then Waldron this time, he can't get that ball away. Robinson understands. He goes high to make sure there's no pass coming. And then after this attack, well, this is dangerous again. The penalty is given here, but you can watch May just on your right-hand side. He just comes flying out. George Skivington. The left hand that I presume Leicester paid a fair bit of money for.
The former Wasp. And the former Bedford man, Billy Twelvetrees now to cut the gap to 3. Which he's going to do. It finished 12-9 between these two to Gloucester last season during the autumn international period, and that's where we are at with just under half an hour to go. 12 Trees strikes again.
Well, to his significant credit, he's had a few problems with his open field game, but it has not affected his nerve, his confidence and his cool kicking for goal. 3 out of 3, excellent.
Through went Sharples. Nearly took that. Grindle.
Well, the technique was superb, but I just think Slater takes his eyes off the ball. Great lift there. No way Sharples could get to him, and he almost just hands it down to the voracious right winger.
He's no longer the man filling in, Charlie Sharples. He's a starter these days, all right. He's been a starter for a long time at Gloucester. Alex Brown with another line-out take, and he joins the effort.
8 is okay, 8 is okay. Hands away, Green!
Lawson having to wait, though, for the ball. So Leicester have got themselves organised in defence, so Hamilton takes them on physically. Just tight to the ruck. And it looks like they're setting themselves again for another drive up the middle. Hazel. Lawson to Robinson and May.
Take a step. Good.
Who's got it in them to break down the defence today? Robinson. Leicester getting hold of turnover ball here. There it is. Castro Giovanni needs to get this out wide, so too Shooter. Chance to go. Newby to Hamilton. Back goes Sharples, and Hamilton nearly kept that in.
Always just running out of space there. It was a pity for Leicester that the first 2 receivers of the turnover ball were Martin Castro Giovanni and George Shooter. Neither of them were going to come off the left foot and straighten the line, and it just forced Hamilton a little bit wide. Now Brown, still a very strong performer in the line out. Skivington can't get near him there. Great lift, great spring. Formerly of Bristol, but he's been a stalwart here for a long time now, and really has been, you know, Gloucester's main man in the line-out so long.
It's Hamilton that time. There's no Dave Atwood today. So importantly for Leicester, no Tom Croft at the line-out. He's second, so say the stats, for line-out takes this season nationally, to Alex Brown. Denied that contest today. A cross presence with the England team. To Ilangi. And almost the pass as well as all the physical beforehand, but it's lost forward by Leicester, and Gloucester should have this. Robinson, Sharples. There's always the feeling of a possibility of an extra man here, but Woods did well just to get a shoulder in to stop that ball from coming back. Then it's Hamilton down that line again, and Simpson Daniel, who loves a counter, he loves to attack. And he decided to keep it in. To Ilangi, to Waldrum. Waldrum turns well for a big man too.
Simpson Daniel came in with a good low tackle on him.
12 Trees. Well, he had time to kick that. There's a big long lever drawn back. But that big long lever had too much in it, and it will be Gloucester drop out on their 22.
In the context of this scrap, that's not the worst result there for Billy 12 Trees, is it? Forcing Gloucester to drop out 22. It really is, you know, a matter of taking a metre a minute and just keep taking metres and waiting for the chance. And Richard Cockrell, he knows. Boy said in the studio, Leicester have been in these sort of scraps so many times, and while they're 12-9 down, they'll fancy their chances.
He's not really been cleaned up, has he, Castro Giovanni? Just going back to Waldrum, you know, and they call him the tank. He doesn't turn like a tanker, does he? He's very nimble-footed.
He is, yeah. He comes off rail all right, very quick. Not quite as nimble, Olivier Azam, who has come on for Scott Lawson. That's like having a third prop now in terms of Gloucester scrum, and that will help them there.
Scott Lawson heads away to international duty as the front row is going to stay warm just in case he's required again. He's been removed. And Olivier Azam has come on. And Slater touches that. That was a knock-on.
It's interesting, Dickinson on as well. Two good ball carries as well, almost if Gloucester just trying to turn the screw and up the ante. Leicester certainly helped them there. That was a very poor piece of play.
Scott Quinnell, front line.
Yeah, James Brindle here. As he sees, he comes into the contact area. Luke Narroway is going to come over the top, and he comes on, puts his hands on him, then he takes his hands away. You can't complain. You've got to play to the whistle because Luke Narroway pinches the ball from under his nose, and then Gloucester are away. Play to the whistle.
Dickinson on for Ward in the front row. Dickinson, who will disappear to be with Scotland as well. After this, there's Trinder. May, you might have seen, was receiving treatment before, but he's got up the youngster to still be alongside Trinder in the Gloucester midfield. Took the knot well, looked like a nasty one initially. It's Waldrum again. Grindle to 12 trees. Oh, he might have seen it's on in front of him. And it's new man Dickinson who has to make the tackle there, the prop. Showed his speed across the ground. Castro Giovanni always throwing a dummy there. On to Anthony Allen. Jurts attempted to play that with the hand, but he resisted it and just moved the body out the way as the ball was squeezed back. Grindle to 12 trees. Slater seems to be dropping a lot of ball. And that hasn't been the way. He's been an excellent contributor in all ways for Leicester. So he's entitled to a few errors. He's had Slater, but that is an error from Gloucester. So we'll go back for the initial knock-on.
Too many errors, but some great play by some props. Castro with that hint of a dummy, and just before it, Dickinson makes a superb tackle. There's Castro.
Hint of a dummy, that was Quade Cooper.
Well, here's Billy 12 trees. Will not enjoy that. Dickinson just tracking him, making the hit there, straight off the bench. The man from Chianti-shire.
Another player who will be playing autumn international rugby, of course.
Good last goal, thank you. Good knowledge of the breakdown.
That's one way of cleaning the blood.
Tackle her back to your feet.
He really has become the pulse of this Leicester front five. Plays with great integrity.
Middle again. Crouch!
There's a pulse that's bursting out at the moment.
Engage!
Crumples, referee's going to have a look at it on this side. That's where it went down. It's against Doran Jones.
There's
Another player released by England this week, Paul Doran Jones.
I was slightly surprised there. He put Joe Marler through the mincer last week when Harlequins were here, and Davy Wilson stays in camp, and I think Doran Jones has definitely had an edge over Wilson this season, especially as he could play loose and tight head. Strange decision, surprising one anyway.
Leicester go through, won a penalty that time. Oh, Waldrom's going! Had a penalty to level the scores, and the penalty now has been lost, and the front row will be, they are livid. That's enough to make your pulse burst.
Head of steam just when he needed to be a little bit cooler than that. Castro Giovanni will not be getting on the Thomas Waldron the tank ride today. You do all that work, you earn a three-point shot, and then your number 8 does that. That was awful.
Thought May was struggling. Did well to see it off for a few minutes, but the young man goes to be replaced by that man, Leslie Vainikolo. Vainikolo versus Tuilangi. Prize fight awaits.
Oh, excellent. Always enjoy that. Played some decent rugby this season, Leslie Vainikolo.
Take him off, please. Get a blood in,
Now, the front row, well, the pack do all the work here with a superb scrum. Wayne Barnes gives the penalty. You're 12-9 down. I guess you can say Waldron wants more than a draw, he wants a victory, but this is a game where Leicester say, well, hang on, let's just take the 3 points, and look at that. Oh, the divas. Oh.
Would you believe it, or words to that effect? What was going through their minds? As Castro Giovanni does finally get treatment on that cut.
Watch on, please.
That means Julian White is on, 37 years of age, the farmer. Simpson Daniel to Vainicolo, straight into action. And doing what he does so well.
Don't catch a 9. That's fine.
Newby coming through now to put pressure on Rory Lawson. Next score's a vital one, isn't it? Quarter of the match left. Next score should have been Leicester's. Should have been 12 apiece. Again, the scrum half court, and the referee happy to let it go. And the ball was knocked on, so if it doesn't come back quickly for Leicester, they'll have a scrum. But it does, and it's Murphy. And across goes Morgan. Just won't sit for him, and therefore he was left with a very awkward clearance. And that works well, that chip for Leicester.
Real rugby intelligence from Jordan Murphy there. Gets the percentages absolutely right. Just dribbles that ball into the corner. Agony for Ollie Morgan. He doesn't want to go that close to the line, but he can hardly make any game at all as the opera singer prowls.
Shooter. Oh, he's looking to Skivington. Skivington came across hunting for it and couldn't take it. Vainicolo for Gloucester. Little moments going against Leicester in this second half. That was a great position for them, and they haven't taken advantage of it. Robinson kick is a cracker. Now did that drift forward on the throw? I don't think the officials have got back in line. It was a task for them to get back. Tried their best. Almost intercepted by Gloucester as well. Could have gone either way. That where it has gone is for Leicester with the penalty at the breakdown. And immediately Murphy is forward there to point at the post. Don't give it to Waldron.
He nearly stuck his index finger in Wayne Barnes' eye. He was so quick to say 3 points, sir. And the moments, it's not so much the moments have gone against Leicester. Leicester have gone against Leicester. That most un-Tigerish moment from Waldron. And then the line out 6 meters out and they lose control. Leicester, when they're on their form, this is the area where they put teams away. And that's a pretty poor throw from George Shooter. Really poor.
Thought their quick line out might have just drifted forward as well, you know. We're almost in line with that. The officials weren't. Not sure how they could have been, to be fair. Unless they were Olympic sprinters.
So we'll go with it. Bit of excitement. Until there's technology that can tell you from off the pitch, we'll have to.
Absolutely, always accept the decision of the officials. No other choice. And 12 Trees continues his kicking form in this match when kicking for 3 points. He's been charged down all right, but when he's been faced with those 3-point opportunities, he's taken them. It is level. Off goes Hazel. Akapusi Ongera comes on. Just one start this season for Ongera. He's been a fringe player in this campaign, but he's contributed before for Gloucester. And he comes on at this very important stage of this match now. Murphy, crossfield, looking for Tuilagi. Morgan looks over his shoulder. Preparing to be hit in the shoulder by Tuilagi, but he does well there, the fullback. And on go Gloucester with Rory Lawson and Vainicolo. Lawson, Simpson Daniel. Awful. Call for the mark, easy for Hamilton. So much space. And he's picked out space.
Necessary.
And Rory Lawson is jogging. Now he gets the call because Hamilton is working very hard to get there. Robinson has got a good angle. And he's got a good boot. Ajurt said no, not this time, because Doran Jones was up there.
Well, Scott Hamilton has sprinted 100 metres there to help his team. Here's the break from Rory Lawson, and they're getting Vainikolo into the game. But doing the basics and doing them so well, Hamilton did brilliantly there. That's not bad from the scrum half. But one has to say, you know, we've been critical of certain elements of 12 Trees game, but in a gritty game, his goal kicking has really been crucial thus far.
Newby, Grindle, 12 Trees, head down and tries to get through, but
Fine, not beyond the horizontal.
Ongera's on, and Ongera's tackling. Shooter to Woods, oh, he has got through! It's a great line, it's a powerful run, and now can Leicester get quick ball? They can. Grindle, just a delay on the pass. He sensed that Gloucester were coming in,
Hands away,
moving forward the defensive line, just had to check. And Gloucester again getting back very well. Their scramble defence has been superb.
Yeah, but Grindle was far too indecisive there.
He's had to pass straight away. There's Slater.
And relay 4 red.
Grindle again, 12 Trees again. Now it's Allen. They're liking this kick. And it's turning Gloucester once more. Sharples, oh, he's setting off. Vainikolo, well, this is going to have to be physical. Vainikolo won't shirk the challenge, though. And he's still on the floor there, just setting it back. 12 each, anybody's game then. Gloucester's wins here so narrow this season. 22-21 against Leeds, 22-20 against Wasps. There's a Zam. Last week was a draw until the last 2 minutes. That late try from Deacon, and it became 33-26 against the Quins. Charge down now from Leicester. Woods is there again. And Gloucester have got it on the floor. Referee's having a very close look. Well, they've got it now because it's the penalty. Leicester lying all over it.
On top of the ball to stop the competition. Number 6 green.
Newby.
6.
And Nicky Robinson. Just wonder how much distance he'll get. He's a long way from touch, as far as he can be. And Waldrum, flag is up. Nearly from Waldrum.
Just talking about, oh,
That's petulant. That might incur the wrath of the officials. It should really. Too much of that is creeping into the game.
Yeah.
Never used to happen. I know it's professional, I know the stakes are high.
but there's nothing professional about it. I mean,
No.
that's just that's
Leicester plays.
unprofessional. It's a lack of personal control.
I agree. For contact sports, the rugby used to set the standard in
Knock on from
its
9.
treatment of officials.
Scrummage on the 5-metre line.
Just going back to Grindle being indecisive, he gets this ball away now. Gloucester running backwards, he doesn't get it away in time, and what happens is you get this man coming forward. Should have been going backwards, but instead Gloucester are going forwards. 2 paces, instead of a defence on their heels, the defence is on their front foot. Those are the fine margins that make the difference, and again, Youngs is missed.
That scrum was on the move, Narroway. He spent most of the evening on the move at the base of that scrum. He's trying to control it the best he can. Or more often than not, get away quickly. Well, getting away there was Ongera, and that made a big impact, that drive. Pasqualin's come on at scrum half. He's wearing 21. Robinson still wearing 10 and still putting up the high ball, and Murphy still taking them and making it look so ridiculously easy. Jordan Murphy, and he does that too. With the boot, this time it's Gloucester, get on with it with Morgan's quick take to Robinson.
Keep coming.
Starting to bubble up now, this match. It's there for the taking. Back from Narroway to Sharples. Sharples, he's slipped, but he's still got to pass into Ongera. Slater tried to drag him into touch, and Guerra did well. Dickinson has time for a quick glance and then goes on. Jordi Pasquale to Azam. Now it's Trinder. Well, to be fair to Trinder, he saw that the fullback was not at home. Might have conceded possession to Ilangi as the rain starts to fall now. Well, he's certainly conceded possession to Ilangi as he just picked out Morgan. And Morgan slips, and that's evidence of the greasy surface. With the rain coming down, Robinson had no chance to take that. Trinder kicks again. Hamilton is going to call for the mark with both mouth and arm.
The rain starts like this, Mars. You've got to hit the ground. You can't allow the ball to stay in the air. If Gloucester are kicking, they've got to find the down. And same with Leicester. Find the space. Murphy will try and do that.
Murphy with the catch. Murphy with the counter.
Well,
oh, he didn't find his man. Vinacolo offloads. Buxton. Simpson-Daniel. Well, if there's one player who can find a way through, it's him. Pasquale, Hazel, Trinder. Back it goes again. Pasquale into Robinson. Ungera. Final 10 minutes now. Pasquale, Robinson is coming this way to Sharples, Doran Jones. But Leicester had it all covered, as both defences have had in this match. Ungera. Pasquale, Robinson. Up comes 12 Trees. He tried to get to Simpson-Daniel, but there's Vinacolo onto Morgan. Morgan tackled by 12 Trees, who got across and did make a telling challenge in the end. Here's Azam. Pasquale, Robinson, Hazel, they're lining up it. Hamilton tries to go through the middle and can't. Picked up by Trinder. Pasquale, Robinson, they're calling for the chip. Give it inside to Hamilton instead, but Sharples wanted it over the top there. Leicester might have been a little bit flat.
Guerra is carrying superbly.
What an introduction into the game on Guerra. Trying to pull over players to that far side. Replacement Crane's been called over. Might not get there in time. Vinacolo! Vinacolo! Just held short. Referee plays advantage. Gloucester have it, not quite. And from the quick peeps on the whistle to follow the long blast and the hand in the pocket, this is bad news for Leicester, I think.
You've made the tackle, you stayed on the ball, you never released, rolled away.
Matt Smith.
Smith will watch on now. It's 14 against 15. It's Robinson to give Gloucester the lead. Advantage swings the way of Gloucester. No doubt about any Thomas Waldron moment of madness there. Nicky Robinson has to go for the 3 points here. Impact, you know, has been great from the Gloucester bench. Azam, Dickinson, Vinacolo, Guerra, they've added a little bit of edge in the last 5 minutes. A big Leslie has been pretty strong, and Simpson-Daniel playing in field, he just makes things happen. Vinacolo straight through Ben Woods, and there you can see Matt Smith conceded a card. Off you go, says a local fan.
Robinson's missed a few. He can ill afford to miss this one. It could be the match winner. Nicky Robinson has missed it. Just can't get it right today.
Calling that a miss is almost too polite. Oh, what was going on in his head? 50% today, Nicky Robinson. 100% 12 Trees. Oof.
Robinson now in defence. And Leicester will be very grateful for his misses, but especially that one.
Well, that's a shocker. Yeah, all his experience as well, and the Gloucester fan must have been thinking, surely, but no. It's not a blonde moment, it's a Welsh moment from their fly half. Oh dear.
It's the kind of moment that makes or breaks a Saturday evening for a fan.
Yes.
Misery or joy.
And a fly half kicking. Oh, he'll feel that one, Miles. He'll feel that one.
That is once. Back you
Still
go,
6 minutes to go.
8.
Still in the melting pot.
That'll be a lift for Leicester, though, you know. That sort of miss makes you think, hey, this could be our day.
Azam on the wrong side, needs to be careful.
Now
Leicester are
start
pulling
using
him out.
You've lost green! You've lost green!
It's Gloucester ball. Crowd rediscover some energy of their own, and Trinder too.
Now release!
Of course, Matt Smith off the field. Gloucester with the extra man here, and Simpson Daniel starting to find space. Spinacolo couldn't find the ball. Tuilangi somehow got that one back, and now it's Twelvetrees covered by Morgan.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Sharples. Exciting finish here at Kingsholm. Sharples after this. Grindle's not going to get long. Sharples is a flyer! And then Grindle knocks it. Sharples on the floor. In comes Dickinson, and he just didn't think about that.
Ball went backwards.
White heat, ball went backwards. Grindle gets away with that.
Well, Grindle knocked on. Sharples did very little wrong.
Player over the ball, hold on.
Well, it's the penalty against Sharples, but I thought it was Dickinson just flying in off his feet. Anyway, we'll get another look.
Grindle was so desperate for this ball to just get over that dead ball line. It didn't. Comes off the shin, I think. And then Sharples is on the floor and he is playing the ball. And if it hadn't been a penalty there, I think you could have penalised Dickinson for an unauthorised lift-off.
Shooter's thrown over the top to Aguera. Aguera's the kind of man who could go from there. But now it's Woods. Well, all the excitement is coming at the end. Rain lashing down now as well. Grindle's going to throw this back into the 22, so it can't really go to touch, and Allen's aware of that. But Allen, the former Gloucester man, is jinking out of trouble. Well played him. Simpson Daniel takes it. Referee is going back. I was following the ball there.
Card for a trip. I thought there was a... I thought as Allen was just trying to step his way clear.
It's Hamilton going.
No advantage, go. Are you okay? Trip.
Yeah, it was a trip. I saw Anthony Allen was just stepping away, and you saw a great big long
Jim,
leg,
get
like
off.
a daddy long legs go out, and he missed him, but that's what it was for.
So 2 men in the sin bin now, one from either side. Hamilton goes.
Terrible missed touch there from Twelvetrees.
Awful mistake. Here's Azam.
And away, tacklers!
It's like neither side wants to win it. Sure they do. Robinson. Pasquale.
And away!
The clock against both teams. More against Gloucester, of course, as the home side. 2 points here is not a bad return for Leicester, not a bad return for any team. Vinocola,
Release it!
unbeaten at
Release
Kingsholm in
it!
their last 15 matches in the Premiership. It's a year ago. Wasps on this ground. Leicester win. Here's Simpson Daniel. Simpson Daniel going. Morgan. Oh, good pick up from Morgan. He's looking for Sharples. They've always been looking for Sharples. And now they've found him. Sharples just can't get away from Crane. Pasquale. Out to Robinson. Azam in midfield. Too much time to think. Oh, no! Not too much time to think. Good hands from Gloucester. Trinder gets it on. There's an extra man. It's Vinocola! What a try!
Just check, I'm not sure about the ball.
checked, and so it should be at this stage of the game. Well, it's a notoriously difficult place to win here, but Leicester almost have their draw.
We've waited a long time, but it's gathered and it's come, and that is a try there. You don't even need a second one there. Vainikolo, he's bashed some holes infield, ball under the left arm, there's no way he is going to be stopped at the death. Gloucester take the lead.
Leicester don't have their draw anymore. But how much time? This is a try for Leslie Vainikolo, without a doubt. Listen to this roar.
Well, you'd say, Miles, on the balance of play, they probably deserved it. Leicester have kicked superbly for goal, 100% for 12 trees. Some squandering from Nicky Robinson, but I think in a difficult day, this man has been so strong at the back. And this try starts with Ollie Morgan producing a superb moment of play. Simpson Daniel down like a back row forward. He's in, he's over the cover, and those 5 metres set up the situation. Thereafter, Olivier Azam, one of the impact men, does ever so well, keeps his calm, and this is really well done. Vainikolo scores, but it's the man at full-back, Ollie Morgan, who set that one up. Thrilling try.
Robinson's missed his kicks. Wouldn't it be typical? Wouldn't it be typical? And Richard Cockrell nows know that all Leicester can leave with is a dramatic draw, a really dramatic draw. It's 7 points the difference, but Leicester have got to find a try. The top try scorers in the Premiership at the start of the weekend with 21. They need to find number 22.
Well, Leicester may only get a consolation, but Ollie Morgan will get my Premiership man of the match. So solid in a difficult night.
And he's going to try and catch the restart. No, he's left it to others, but it's come through to Morgan. And there's less than 10 seconds and Gloucester have the ball. Leicester really competing hard, though. They could be about to win it. No, they're not. Robinson sends it off into the night sky. And now it starts to look like a very good start to Gloucester's season. Gone are the memories of the defeated round 1 at Exeter, long gone. A dramatic conclusion. The space provided by the Simbin men, maybe it was always going to take that in this game, but it was provided, and when it came along, Gloucester were the ones to take advantage of it. It was a fine try at the end of a bruising evening. At last the skill came at the end, and it came from Gloucester.
And the gamble came from Gloucester, didn't it? They threw everything at it at the end. Olivier Azam with a lovely piece of play. But, you know, it was gritty rather than anything else from Gloucester. It was a game at home. They wanted to win. They managed to win. For Leicester, a consolation point. They missed their English half-backs dreadfully. For Gloucester, in the end, 79 mediocre minutes won't matter, because Gloucester, they have their victory. Leicester, with some scalp.
Not a classic match, but a classic finish, and one that Gloucester fans will certainly remember for a long time. Now, football, Hercules against Real Madrid. Real Madrid always worth watching, whatever the competition, and that is now on Sky Sports 4. Right here, we're getting some reaction to Gloucester's win. Ollie Morgan, man of the match, is with Melissa.
Well, Ollie, 4 Premiership wins in a row, but against the champions, does that have to be the most satisfying?
Yeah, I think we talked about last year, we played Leicester at home. It was sort of the turning point of our season. We've won the last 4 at home, which is, you know, important that we create Kingsholm as a fortress. And, you know, that was just atmosphere, fantastic. And, you know, the guys dug deep, and at the end there, that was fantastic back play in weather like this.
And the impact that your bench made as well. Caution to the wind almost, had to go for the try as opposed to the kick.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, squads nowadays have a lot of strength and depth, and, you know, Leslie, Zed coming on, massive impact, so that's really important for us.
Well, congratulations to the team, to you personally, with the Aviva man of the match. Well done.
Well, it's an area of real strength for England now, isn't it? 15 jersey, you think Foden, you think Armitage, you think of Bendon and Morgan as well. Man of the match, Gloucester. What a finish for them, what a night. This is how it sounded.